Welcome everybody. Welcome to our new members. We're gonna get started here, y'all. Got a lot to get through, so we're gonna help and get through it. The way it typically works is we just do like a quick presentation, and then we get on with the conversation, and y'all weigh in. Today, we're talking about the work you're doing to become a husband or become a wife. This is like an introspective conversation. It's different than a lot of the other conversations we've done. Whereas in this one, we're kind of looking at ourselves and we're taking some self-accountability. So that's what this is all about. And we'll see what happens. So we got a lot to get to. We're gonna get through it. I want to welcome everybody again. What this group is about. Y'all see it here, making friends. This is a friends group. It's not a singles group. It's a friends group. So if your expectation is to make friends, you're going to find that here. I hope that you all find somebody. But our main thing is we're a friends group. We do online and in-person meetups. Next week we have another in-person meetup at main event Sunday at I think it's 5 p.m. If y'all can go ahead and tap in, it's going to be a good time, good vibes. Yeah, we're going to be doing like an official game night at one of our organizers' house. Harold, he has a few of you been to Harold's house before. Harold's really welcome. He's going to let us in, and we're going to host like an official game night. We're actually thinking about making a monthly thing, a chance to kind of build friendships and stuff. Let's see here. What else we got here? So it's a group I created for Black people, but we do not discriminate on others based on race, religion, or sexual orientation. That's key. So everybody's really welcome here. But as y'all can see from a lot of the topics and stuff I cover, is really things that really affect the Black community. All right. Oh, what's this? So a lot of you have been talking and y'all have been saying, hey, these conversations are good, but they need some balance. It would benefit from having a female perspective. So I reached out to someone. A lot of y'all know who she is. This is her first time. She's a little nervous. So just kind of take it easy in the chat. Just give her some grace and till she kind of gets the swing of things. But she's going to be helping me out with these conversations to give a woman's perspective. And so this is who it is. Brandy, y'all know her. Got a quick little video.
I'm 5'4". I lie and say I'm 5'5". Okay. I used to be a chubby chaser because I've only had 2 boyfriends my whole life because my mom and dad did not let us date. Because I've only had 2 boyfriends my whole life, my parents didn't let me date because I know I'm a homebody and that's just tough. I'm here for growth. Like, how many men are willing to say that their friends smashed the woman that they married?
We need some shame.
No, that's patriarchal, colonial bullshit, sir.
I kind of appreciate the shame from Kevin Samuels. Woo! You'd wonder what the hell happened. If you got the confidence, then hell yeah, the power of prayer is real. I'm not gonna lie, a lot of people these days say they don't believe in God, but they believe in a higher power. What the hell does that mean? We have to be patient and we have to lean on God's understanding because I can't expect peace if you don't understand my peace. No, sir, I did not.
I think Brandy might be
Oh, sorry.
Brandy, where you at, Brandy?
I am here and present.
You want to introduce yourself to the people?
Hi, y'all. I'm Brandy. I'm 33. It's nice to meet you all. I can't wait to meet you all in person. And I'm here for growth. So I heard a few of y'all may be wanting to slay me, but please be patient with me, okay?
No, nobody's going to slay you.
Thank you.
All right, y'all. So that's Brandy. I hope y'all like that video. Let's see here. So this next screen here, this is about different levels of membership. Basically, everybody who comes into the group with a clear picture is dang on. Let's see if I go back. Okay, there we go. Everybody who comes into the group with a clear picture is force sensitive. You come to one meetup, or if you show your face on like a meetup like tonight, you become a Jedi. You come to like a in-person meetup and a few of these online, you become a Jedi Knight. A few people who've been kind of rocking with the group for a little bit become Jedi Masters. Shout out to, we got one Jedi Master in the house, Carlos. He's been rocking from like almost day one. Shout out Carlos. He's a Jedi Master in the group. Sith Acolyte, if you don't have like a clear picture, you're a Sith Acolyte. You want to change that, just get a clear picture. A Sith Lord, just somebody who's controversial. We still love you, but it's just a controversial group member. It's no big thing. We still love you. But that's the levels of membership. Also, so some context. Why are we having these relationships conversations? Number one, to meet new people and see where they stand on important relationship issues. Number two, to learn more about the opposite sex. As Brandy says, I'm here for growth. That's what we should be here for. That's what I'm here for. And I've been growing. I'm not going to even front. Doing this for a few months, I've been growing a lot. And finally, the main reason, to restore and encourage healthy Black relationships through engaging in conversation, to see more two-parent households. So yeah, that's the goal here. So that's a lot of the things that I talk about going forward. I'm not, I'm real sensitive to bashing Black men, bashing Black women. I'm for the community. I'm for seeing us come together. So yeah, that's kind of where my position is. So that's kind of what I want to foster in this space, just like a something that's going to bring us together. All right. A little bit of history. I share this slide often, but prior to the 70s and right around the 60s, Black folks were the most married. We're going to talk about that era today. Right after the civil rights legislation, something changed and we became the least married of all groups. These are some things I think may have influenced it, and we're going to talk maybe a little bit about this here, the feminism component today. But just a question I always ask people to ponder: is there a gender war and was it planned? Let's see here. Some stats as of 2019: 50% of Black men never married, 48% of Black women never married. We are the least likely to be married. Our relationship, there's a real relationship crisis in the Black community. This group is trying to help solve some of that, at least with these conversations. All right. So let's get into it. How are you preparing to become a husband or a wife? So in beginning to think about this conversation, I began to try to like piece together how do we approach marriage? Because people have different philosophies and different ideas about marriage. And I thought that would be helpful. And so somebody's feeling that. Somebody's feeling that. I got an amen from the congregation. But so that's kind of where we're going to go with this. We're going to talk about understanding our approach to marriage and mindsets. And we have a lot of stuff to get them. I need to go through it fast, y'all, because I got a lot of stuff and I didn't really realize it. Okay, so there's really three different models or three different mindsets. And I kind of, well, the primal thing I kind of made up, but that's a period in time. Let's see here. Let me let Davis in. Got another person, Nikita, in. And there was traditional mindset and there's a modern mindset. I believe that everybody is a combination of a lot of these different things, but for the most part, we tend to be more of one thing than the other things. And I think in this day and age, we all tend to be more modern. That's men and women. The being a modern woman thing has kind of become a curse word, but in reality, a lot of us are modern men and women. So that's kind of where we're at today. We're going to talk a little bit about the different mindsets. And I think part of my whole discussion here is just, I think that a lot of the problems exist because a lot of us have a modern mindset. It's like a lot of problems that exist in relationships today is because we're trying to figure out this whole modern relationship thing. So let's go through the different time periods. The first one, we're going to talk about the primal period. This is what I consider the period of Black relationships prior to the transatlantic slave trade. Don't take offense to the word primal. It was just the only thing that came to mind. A lot of the research and evidence I got was from this book, The Life of Equana, Luda Equano. He was a person who was captured into slavery, and he details what life was like prior to slavery. So this is where a lot of the information comes from. Y'all like this backgrounds from The Lion King, one of my favorite movies. All right, so let's see here. Prior to that, let's see, in this time period, these are all excerpts from the book. He says there was a such thing as marriage back then, and that marriage was like almost like a sacred thing amongst the community. When people got married, there was a dowry that was given to the wife, and after, this was like the custom for the marriage. And a lot of times there were arranged marriages. As you can see here, people were betrothed when they were young, so there was an arranged marriage. We're going to talk about arranged marriages. We're going to talk about courting. And we're going to talk about dating. Back then, the modus operandi was arranged marriages, at least in this area of Africa where Aquina was. And he said that most of the slave trade that happened was occurred in the area where he was from. So, and that's kind of how it was. Let's see here. Also, they were polygamous. A lot of the men had two wives, and he said it was rare that they had more than two, but this was a thing that happened back then. So on gender roles, it says that agriculture was a chief employment. Everyone, including children and women, were engaged in it. So you hear a lot of this talk about, well, back then people did things a certain way, but the women weren't really working, doing that. That was never true, at least for the Black community. We always been working together, been in the trenches together. And this was even true prior to the transatlantic slave trade. Let's see here. When women weren't employed in agriculture, they were like doing things like putting together garments and making textiles and different things to eat out of. Let's see here about the behavior of women. He says, our women were, in my eyes at least, uncommonly graceful, alert, and modest to a degree of bashfulness, nor do I remember or ever heard of an instance of incontinence among them before marriage. They are also remarkably cheerful. So I guess what he's basically saying here is that they were just, it was like a modest type thing. There was, they weren't just like heathens out there in the jungle, just going crazy. There was some kind of there was a protocol. It was a patriarchal society. It wasn't a matriarchal society. Somebody in the comments, shout out to Peace. I don't know if she's here, but she suggested that it was like a matriarchal thing. No, it was a patriarchal thing. Talked about the men. They decided disputes, punish crimes whenever they assembled together. And one thing about Aquinas that really surprised him was that he said that a lot of society, because the society in which he came from was real similar to the way they lived in the Old Testament in the Bible in terms of the patriarchy. So that was something that really surprised him. And he even said it here. I'm not going to read this whole thing, but he had said it almost seemed that one people had sprung from another. It was so similar in the way that they behaved, that their behavior was. All right. So that's it on that. This is a quote from tweet from Jamel Hill back in the day. And she said, I've increasingly found that many Black men just want better access to patriarchy. They don't actually want it dismantled. So, if, there's like, I think it's really fascinating to me that, that I'm not going to get on the whole patriarchy discussion, but a lot of women are just surprised that men favor patriarchy, but it's kind of like what we come from. If we're, we're going to talk about it. But anyway, we'll keep it pushing here. So we're going to talk about the traditional mindset. Let's see, I got a message. Let's see if I'm making sure I'm on track. I don't know if I'm saying something wrong. All right. So this is, with the traditional mindset, we're talking about marriage from Reconstruction to the Civil Rights period. Let's see, I got to omit Nadine. Main thing that we saw a shift that happened from polygyny to monogamy. Environmental and economic conditions brought that shift about. What happened was men weren't going to war, so there was more men. And in order to reduce competition among men so that men who really weren't as economic successful or weren't as strong, they had access and they didn't like come together and rebel and fight against the more successful men. So monogamy became more of a thing. Also, they begin to attitudes around monogamy shifted, whereas now they're saying versus a man spreading his seed amongst a lot of different women, and having all these children, if he just concentrates and has just a few children with one woman, then he can pass down a lot of his resources to that one, he could pass to a few children versus having all these kids. So it made sense economically for what was happening at that time. For the Black community, marriage was an economic means of survival. You know what I mean? Like we really depended on each other. Like it wasn't the man, like this ideal that we hear talked about today about what was current in the 60s and 50s, where a man was a main breadwinner. That really wasn't the case in the Black community. We were both really working, and marriage was really instrumental for us. That's why we were the most married in this period. There was a big influence in this period that came from the church in terms of the traditional mindset on marriage, and that the church began to introduce things of this marriage as a spiritual concept.
The most disrespected person in America is the Black woman. The most unprotected person in America is the Black woman. The most neglected person in America is the Black woman.
I just threw that in there. I just threw that in there because I kind of agree with it. But let's see here. And the church began to introduce concepts as things like the man is the head of the family. His role was a protector and a provider. The church introduced concepts like woman as a man's helpmate. You also see the church had an attitude of complementarianism versus egalitarianism. And what that basically means is that they believe that men and women are equal, but we have different roles and different things that we do well. There are some things that men can do well that women can't do. And there are some things that, and vice versa, versus an egalitarian approach that says we're all equal and we all can do the same things and blah, blah, blah. That's kind of the more modern mindset is egalitarianism, whereas the traditional mindset is complementary. There's some big words we're throwing out there, but it's kind of key. Traditional gender roles, that was enforced during this time in the traditional mindset. And there was a focus on the nuclear family. When we say nuclear family, we're talking about dad at home, mom at home, and children. That's what's considered the nuclear family. Brandy, you want to chime in? Okay, we doing all right? All right. This is so this was our mindset prior to the a lot of the things that happened in the 70s and stuff. We were for the most part we were traditional, and a lot of this came from the church. So this is just summarizing. In today's time, we kind of moved away from that. And I want to say, Bacchus, does this background look familiar to you? I don't know, Bacchus might have stepped away, but this background came from Bacchus's Instagram. Bacchus is one of the things, in addition to being controversial, Bacchus is an awesome photographer, and he shot this. This was on his Instagram. It's really the cityscape of Atlanta. He added some effects to it, but I just thought it was real nice for the purposes of this. So shout out Bacchus. Bacchus, you can put your IG in the chat if you want people to follow you. But okay, so with the modern mindset, we begin to see different ideals come into place. Freedom and openness, dating replaced courting, and courting was really what occurred during the traditional period, which had replaced arranged marriages in the primal period. So we went from arranged marriages to courting to dating, and that's kind of where we're at now. Social media, we see the integration of social media into society. Now we're living in an equal society. We're also in a more tolerant, society that has a lot of tolerance toward things. And we're in a society, in a day and age now where financial access and prosperity is greater than it's ever been, especially for the Black community. I think I heard stats that said that if you add up all of our wealth, we make we're like the 13th richest if we were a nation of our own, just Black Americans. So it's really a prosperous time, but there are other things that are really happening. Also, let's see here, with the modern mindset, we begin to see the expansion of feminism. With feminism came an increased access to education and employment for women, which I am for. As I said earlier, I think we're all a little bit of everything, if we're honest about it. We begin to see things like dismantling patriarchal norms and structures. This is why, people, when I say something that it's like more traditional, somebody chimes in from the chat and say, no, sir, that's patriarchal, because that's what feminism is teaching people, that patriarchal, anything patriarchal is a bad thing. It's a curse word. We begin to see women's sexual liberation and no-fault divorce. So I think I'm okay with no-fault divorce. I wish people didn't divorce as easy, but I don't think people should be stuck in a marriage if they don't want to be in it. So, I'm a little modern. Brandy's throwing her head back, but I'm a little modern in that respect. I don't want to force women into marriages that they don't want to be in. Let's see here. We begin to see acceptance, support, and promotion of non-nuclear family structures. This is Brittany Cooper. I don't know if y'all remember a few conversations back, but a lady and her husband came up, and she was having him read literature by Brittany Cooper. And this is what Brittany Cooper believes. We don't need traditional nuclear families for Black thriving. Now, for the life of me, I don't understand how being a man, you can support an idea that says you're not needed for the Black community to thrive. And this is one of my huge problems with the feminism piece. It's weird to me. I don't understand it, but everybody has different opinions. So, and we're all entitled to it. And that this platform is really about voicing your opinions, whether it's feminist, whether it's whatever it is, whether it's traditional, whatever it is. But I just don't understand it from a man's perspective of supporting this kind of stuff. All right, let's see here. What else with the modern? I got a lot of stuff on modern times, y'all, because that's the times we're living in. Let's see here. Men and women increasingly view marriage as a means to reach self-actualization and self-esteem rather than lower needs on Maslow's hierarchy. Anybody familiar with psychology? This is Maslow's hierarchy of needs. During the primal period, marriage was a means to attain the physiological needs and safety needs. But increasingly today, in modern and traditional times, marriage has become a thing where we're trying to reach self-actualization. You know what I mean? It's no longer about these base needs. It's about reaching these higher level needs, esteem, feeling of accomplishment. This is why people, well, we'll get into it. And I put people today that still, this is just a little side note, that still practice like almost primal type situations as Muslims, and a lot of Black Muslims in Philadelphia, and Muslims around the world, and the Hotep community is real big on the primal sort of marriages. Let's see here. Alternative lifestyles with the modern era. We begin to see alternative lifestyles. De facto polyamorous relationships. where people say, well, I don't believe in poly. Well, everybody's cheating. So it's kind of like you're in a de facto poly relationship.
She's into it.
Into what?
The menage. And not only that, she just called me. She told me she spoke with the roommate, and the roommate's into the menage too.
That's unbelievable!
What are you talking about? I'm not gonna do it.
You're not gonna do it? What do you mean you're not gonna do it?
I can't. I'm not an orgy guy.
Are you crazy?
All right, so I'm a big Seinfeld fan, so that's just a little thing. Anybody know what a menage is? Basically a threesome. True. I don't know if I want to go here. Mark, I'll tell you about real estate. The real estate.
Nah, you ain't telling me nothing.
Okay. Anyway, I was in a situation where I could have had this. And I think I was like Jerry. I was like, I'm not about that life, man. It's a little wild, man. I'm not an orgy guy. It sounds good on paper, fellas, but I don't know. Some of you may be about that life, but when you really become confronted with it, it's a little daunting, man. All right, let's see here. Let's see. Where's it?
No, it's not. Yeah, everybody should experience that at least 4 times in their life. I'm just saying.
There you go. There's one guy that said I couldn't do it. I couldn't do it. But whereas it used to be obvious, now we're asking each other, what do you bring to the table? Back in the day, it used to be obvious what a man brought to the table. It used to be obvious what a woman brought to the table. A man was a protector and provider, and a woman was a man's helpmate. A man had certain things he did, and a woman had certain things she did. But now in modern times, things have become topsy-turvy, and we're kind of doing different things, and there's different expectations. And people are asking, hey, what do you bring to the table? Men and women are asking that. You often hear women complain about it, but women are asking almost the same thing. What are you bringing to the table? That's what people want to know. Let's see here. We're seeing increased acceptance of non-traditional gender roles for men and women. Men and women question traditional ideas about marriage. Is it for and what constitutes it? What ideas about what marriage is for and what constitutes a happy life. As you can see here, this is a study that studied 1990 and 2007. Let's see here. As you can see, the biggest increase in change of opinions occurred in sharing household chores. So now, whereas it used to be that, man kind of did certain things around the house and a woman did certain things, now in modern times, no, we all need to kind of share and split this responsibility. Another biggest increase, you can't really see it because this little ticker is going across it, but it's about children. Whereas it used to be people were coming together for the purpose of procreation, the biggest decrease to make a marriage work for people was children. We're seeing a 24-point decrease in that. Let's see here. These are ideas about why people get married in today's time. Love being number one, lifelong commitment, companionship. Having children is kind of somewhere in the middle. The financial stability part is kind of toward the bottom. So as you can see, it's really not about these other things. It's really just about reaching those higher needs on Maslow's hierarchy that I pointed out earlier. So yeah, those are 3 different mindsets. If y'all can chime in later and let me know if y'all agree or disagree. And we're almost wrapping up here, y'all. Let's see here. I'm doing time. Okay, I'm doing pretty good on time. So these are 3, and like I said, I think everybody's a little combination of all of these. We're not all primal, we're not all traditional, we're not all modern, but we all kind of have a mix of a little bit of everything. But for the most part, most of us, because we live in modern times, we tend to trend modern.
Are they winning? I think if we first have to ground in what's winning.
Shout out to Janelle.
Focus of the children being well, like there's an old adage.
Listen to what she's saying, y'all.
The children well. The children aren't well because the parents coming into it aren't well. So the whole concept of getting together is it's for me versus what are we building, right? So if we're not coming into this concept of we're here to build a thing together, any corporation where there's a merger, in essence, we're merging ideas, times, resources, all of the things, physical bodies, all of this is for an ultimate purpose of creating something greater. But in these, if hoes are winning and so forth, there isn't a commonality of we're building a thing together, right? There's not I want a 6'1" guy who has all this stuff so I can get it. I don't see where the idea of we're coming to this to co-create something together. On the flip side, if we're approaching it from a co-creation standpoint, me stepping back from my career for a moment to take care of our kids, because we have an idea of when they have kids, what we want their kids to be able to say about them, like it's a very different mindset. So I think the first issue is why are we coming together? And largely that's not a part of our conversation. It's not. And so it becomes this combative thing of, I want as much as I can get with given this least as I can give. So I can feel like I'm not getting got, but what did we create? And so I think that's the ultimate takeaway. So I don't know if the answer is who's winning, because ultimately the kids aren't winning. So no one's really winning. No one's winning. But I've been focusing also on some other things, you know, fertility and preconception is my love. This whole conversation of building healthy, happy families intentionally is my love. So this conversation means a whole lot to me.
Okay, that was an excerpt from last conversation from Janelle. And when Janelle shared this, I heard her, but I didn't really hear her. Because a lot of times doing this stuff, I'm looking at the chat, I'm doing a lot of different things. Sometimes stuff flies over my head. But listen back, I said, wow, she really dropped some gems, And I like how her focus is building healthy, happy families intentionally being the key word there. And she gave, for me, she gave me the roadmap on the kind of the question I want to ask everyone and where we're going with this in terms of what's your mindset and what are we creating? What are we building? I think those are perfect questions. And I tried to lay out some of about the different mindsets with the modern, traditional, and all that stuff here. But I think she gave us a perfect roadmap. And Janelle's here today as well. I hope that she can weigh in on some of the stuff we talked about today and maybe give us another unique perspective. So the game plan. So, and I kind of referenced a lot of this based off of what Janelle said, because I think it was a good roadmap for us. And she said, let's see, step one, as I understand, she said, figure out, well, she didn't say this, but I'm kind of drawing inferences from what she said. Figure out what's your mindset on marriage and relationships. And I came up with these 3 different models. Y'all can disagree with these models, but just come up with your own. What is your mindset? That's the key thing. What's your mindset on marriage? That's step one. Figure out what your mindset is. Get clear about what outcomes you want and expect from marriage and prioritize them. This is when Janelle had asked, what did we create? What are we building? Are we coming together with that mindset? Figure out what it is you want out of marriage. Step 3, take action. That's what this, like the title of this conversation is, what are you doing to become a husband or wife? And I like Rod on the last conversation. He kept saying you attract what you are, and I completely agree. Let's see here. And this is step 4. Only entertain potential mates who have the similar mindsets as you, who want similar outcomes from marriage, and who are prepared and preparing to be a spouse. This is my flaws. This is why I think a lot of stuff is happening and wires are getting crossed because people are wanting different things. This is a lot of troubles that I was having personally, and I think a lot of other people are having that people have different expectations and want different outcomes. But nobody's really coming together who are on the same page. So I think a lot of these steps and a lot of things that Janelle had laid out give us a good roadmap. But let's see here. So this is my last slide here. We're going to open it up and people are going to have a chance to weigh in. And I'm going to say that writing this down, it's a little, especially being a man, I'm not going to front. It's a little, I don't know what the word is, mushy almost, writing this stuff down. For lack of a better term, but and it requires some transparency. So if you're brave enough to share in a second here what you're doing and all these different things, kudos to you, because just in writing this, I was like, man, do I really even want to share any of this stuff? But nevertheless, I'm just going to go ahead and lead the charge. And let's see here. So what am I doing to become a husband? I'm focusing on my health. We had a conversation at the pizza bar, and Andrea, some of y'all met Andrea. She had asked, what's one thing that turns you off about a woman? Or about somebody. She said somebody because she was asking men and women. And I said, I don't really like a big gut. And Bacchus chimed in and said, a booty do. I was like, yeah, that's it. So I don't like when the gut is bigger, significantly bigger than like the booty. I don't mind a little gut, y'all. Long as like the ratio is kind of, I'm looking at the ratio. But guess what happened when your boy look in the mirror? And what do I got? I got a booty do. Like I got a little, like in fairness, I don't got a big butt, but I got my belly sticks out further than my butt. So I look like a hypocrite wanting that from somebody, and I don't have that myself. So I'm focused on my health. I frequently fast. I'm predominantly plant-based. So those are some things that I'm doing to focus on my health.
Let's get to it, Doris. What kind of man you looking for?
6 feet.
You said 6 feet?
Got to be 6 feet. I'm 5'6". I want somebody that I can look up to.
So do you normally date guys that are 6 feet?
No.
How long have you been single for?
I've been single for the last 3 years.
3 years, okay.
Yeah.
Does he have to look a certain way?
I'm big and sexy, so I don't need nobody bigger than me. I'm just being honest.
So you wouldn't date a big guy?
I don't want nobody bigger than me, Kendra. I'm just gonna be honest. Two big people together can't do nothing.
Okay, listen. I hear you, girlfriend. I hear you, girlfriend. But if you don't want somebody big, why do you want somebody that wants somebody big?
Well, I said I'm big and sexy. I didn't say I was just obese, just,
So there you go. That kind of stuff bothers me. Like, come on, y'all. Why are you going to expect something from somebody that you're not yourself? And I don't, I'm not doing it for myself, and it bothers me when I see other people doing that. So I hope that a lot of people aren't doing that, not to, single anybody out, but y'all don't do that. If you want somebody a certain way, if you want somebody that's athletic, are you athletic? You want somebody that's big, are you? Well, I don't know. Anyway, people have different preferences, but anyway, just don't be a hypocrite with your preferences. Knowledge, I'm increasing my knowledge. I'm learning, doing things like having these conversations, listening to what women think, what women want out of life. It's been helpful for me in terms I feel like becoming a husband. And it's not only this, it's just different things, just increasing my knowledge overall. My finances, what it talked about in the video, where it's like, if you're married and your wife wants to step back and focus on a family, if you're a guy and you have a traditional mindset, where are you at with your finances? Like, are you focused on that? Are you putting in any work and doing that? And so I've been doing that. I'm not going to go into all my personal business, but your boy is straight. Let's see here, removing obstacles. So when I begin to think more intentionally about where I want to go and what direction I want in my life, I begin to cut off people or romances that weren't really, that was kind of like, for me, it's an obstacle. Because while you're spending time with one person, you know what I mean? Like the person you could be with, or the person who is going to be your forever spouse or whatever, you're missing out on them because you're kind of tied up with the other person. So I've removed obstacles, And it's just time consuming. It's energy consuming, time consuming. Like I don't understand the point of giving, so much of yourself to someone that is just not going anywhere. So I've removed those obstacles, making myself available, doing things like attending meetups, trying to meet people that way. I'm trying to become more active on social media, just trying to overall get out more, because you can do all the work to become a husband, but if you're not even being seen or available to be a husband, how is that going to work out? And I'm getting clear about what I want. It's kind of what, trying to figure out what it is, what she had talked about, like what it was I want to build and what I want to create. That's kind of coming to this question here. Why are we coming together? For me, number one's legacy, family, children. That's what it's about for me. That's what I'm trying to build, a legacy, family, children. Second, and I put these in order of priority, love and companionship. And number three is economic success and status. That's why I want to get married. This is my mindset here. I believe I'm like 70. These are just some rough numbers. I just did a rough guesstimate. I think about 70% traditional, 15% modern, 15% primal. That's kind of where I think I'm at with it. That's just me. But so these are the questions here, y'all. Now it's on y'all. I want y'all to kind of take this in. If you want to weigh in, there's a reaction button at the bottom of Zoom, and you just raise your hand and you'll be in the queue. Ken, I see Ken's ready to go, but just take this in, y'all. I want y'all to look it over. So what model or mindset do you most align with? Or do you even subscribe to any of those? You don't have to answer all these, or you can if you want to. Why do you want to get married? What do you want to build? And share what's the work that you're doing to become a husband or spouse? You know what I mean? So that's it right there. Hope everybody's got that in. Let me stop the share here and let me go. Let's see, everybody's still here. We still got a lot of people in the house. Hope I didn't put y'all to sleep. Hope that was so. Only Ken wants to weigh in. Man, woo, this is a tough crowd tonight. Golly. Brandy, what'd you think, Brandy?
Okay, so thank you for calling me first.
Hey, you're the co-host.
Okay, so I definitely want to say, what I contribute to marriage. My whole mindset is making yourself minimalized when it comes to being a liability or a burden on your other. So, keeping my finances down. Of course, I think myself is sexy, so I want to keep myself sexy. So I'm always going to be working on my health, my fitness, my mental health, so that I'm not a burden on that other person. So the biggest ideal to me is knowing what you're bringing to the table and knowing what could hinder the other person from being the greatest that they are. You know what I'm saying? I definitely consider myself a traditional female in the sense that I take care of the cleaning and the cooking. If you know how to cook, fine, fantastic. But if you don't, stay out the kitchen, especially when I'm cooking. What do I want in marriage? I want my best friend. You know what I'm saying? If he's my best friend, as it should be, then of course, then we're going to have the same ideals and goals. I want to go see sports games. He's going to want to eat all the time. We're going to want to watch TV and shows together. We're going to be each other's best friends. But I definitely want to minimize the burden in terms to finances and whatnot when I bring to the relationship whatever I can bring. But you definitely have to be on the same path because, like you mentioned, a lot of men are out here looking for polyamorous relationships and whatnot. And, they can say they want to be with you all day. Do they want to be with you all day or do they want to be with other people too? You have to have that conversation. It's necessary.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Thank you, Brandy. And y'all, Brandy's the co-host, y'all. So if she chimes in when people are going forward, she's not interrupting y'all. She's been knighted. So y'all give her some grace here. Let's see here. And I want to put this disclaimer out here too. People are going to have opinions up here, and everybody's opinion I don't support, but this is about everybody voicing their opinions. So I don't want people to say, oh, so such and such said this, and this is a hostile, masculine platform, and I just don't feel comfortable. So it's just what it is, y'all. These are people have opinions, and they want to voice their opinions. So let's respect that. Let's respect people's opinions and just give them the floor. And I'm going to try. Me and Brandy are both going to try not to interrupt people. Marco, what do you think, man?
All right, unmute it. You saying what I think about it?
Yeah, like where you at with it, man? You doing any work?
Yeah, I mean, for me, like my main concern was like having that relationship, with God first, and working on myself mentally. Not just being like less prideful. That's something I struggled with in the past.
Mm-hmm.
Taking accountability.
Mm-hmm.
And basically building my wealth and working on business stuff like that, being debt free, being able to provide for family, being a better father, raising children, take care of myself physically.
Mm-hmm.
So that's where I'm at with it.
Awesome. You just copy my list, man. I see what you did there.
I had this for a long time. I thought about this.
Marco, he didn't even know, y'all. Marco, my road is my best friend, y'all, since kindergarten. He didn't even know what the conversation was. He said, "What we talking about?"
I knew what it was. I was messing with you.
Right. All right. So, like I said, y'all, disclaimer: everybody's opinion are not my opinion, and I know Ken can be controversial. So I don't know what Ken's gonna say, and I'm not trying to prepare y'all for him, but we're gonna let it rock. Go ahead, Ken. You can unmute. What you got?
Okay. I was just gonna say, I know it's like when that woman was talking, there was a lot of discuss, and I share that. Like, I'm a fat dude myself, but brothers, we tend to believe that we gotta negotiate. Like, if you want a skinny sister, you can't be aiming for 8, 9, or 10, and you're at 5 in looks. These women be like my size, and they want Idris Elba. So I think that's why I think a lot of people are taken back by when you see that, because I've seen that a lot. Like, my cousin's girlfriends. I'm like, sweetheart, that's I have a better chance going to the NFL before you get that. But I will say this. Outside America, the dating market, I just got back from Senegal. I was there for 3 weeks. Sisters dating their lane. Like, I'm a 5-looking brother. I never got so much attention from 5-looking women, because in the Northeast, every 5-looking sister's looking for the 8, 9, to 10. I think that's another reason why marriage doesn't happen here, because there's too many women dating out of their lane. Now, I'm not going to say there's not a few guys doing this. Like, if he's successful and he's chasing an 8, 9, to 10, it does happen, but it's rare. Most brothers, when we leave high school, we know what our number is. When I was in high school, I was a 4. I think I moved to a 5 because so many guys got the kids, the bad credit, so maybe gave me 1 point. But no matter how much money is in my bank account, I'm never gonna be 8, 9, or 10. So I try to date in my lane. And I think we should try to do that here, because when you travel, everyone else is doing it.
A lot of the ladies, I'm looking at the chat, Ken, they're saying, why is a lot of your position just focused on looks? That's what they're asking.
You know why? Because most times you don't see people's brain, you don't see their character. The first thing that you see when you're at a social event is their looks. If they don't pass the look test, you're not approaching. Now we can cap and do all that stuff on social media because we hear it all the time. But men who've been around women, we have kind of noticed if they're not physically attracted to them, they're going to keep it moving. Unless she's a gold digger looking for money, that doesn't count. But when it comes to real relationships, prostitution side, if they don't get past the physical, nothing's happened. When we're on dates, if you don't touch us by the third date on the shoulder or a hand or something, we just know to toss the number, because most times when women are attracted, you're going to get some physical touch, and that's going to be based on physical attraction. So that's why, to me, I think I look at it about 60%.
All right, there you go. That's Ken's opinion. He didn't, to me, I mean, it sounded kind of rational to me. Do what you will. Thanks, Ken. We have another conversation about I guess it's in a week or so. We're talking about interracial dating, but I think we're going to touch on the intercultural aspect of it too. What's happening in terms of finding love from different cultures and outside of your own culture. Y'all tap in for that if y'all want to be a part of that conversation. It's going to be interesting. It's going to be real informative, I think, as well. Brandy, you a co-host now. You all up in the chat. Why you don't date in your lane, Brandy? Why you say you don't feel like you don't date in your lane?
Well, I have confusion, first of all, because of the date in the lane game, and giving time to people. I hope to attract only people in my lane, but I only also engage people that I'm attracted to. Other people, get the snooze. Do you know what I mean? So the whole dating in your lane is a little confusing to me, because I'm obviously going to be attracted to somebody if I like how they look. So I don't get that whole picture. Do you know what I mean?
But when you say you don't date in your lane, are you dating below your lane or like above your lane?
And that's what I don't get. So, for example, dating in your lane means what? What is the definition of dating in your lane? I'd like someone to define that for me before I proceed.
Somebody want to define it for Brain real quick? I feel like people more or less know where their lane's at. I kind of know where my lane's at. Like I think dating in your lane is just a match. Yeah, I know people.
No, and I don't agree with you there, because you don't know what your lane is until you actually get the truth from the person that you're interested in. So how can you know what your lane is? All you can do as a woman in America, as one person said, women were all visual. Okay, of course, we're going to engage the guy that we're attracted to. But how do you know if they're in your lane? And what is my lane? Somebody who doesn't have no debt, somebody who doesn't have kids, that's not fair. And I have dated men with kids, and that's not the problem. How you treat your kids and your baby mama is my problem. So, I mean, there's a little bit more to go into that conversation.
I think your lane is, somebody said, that's the market. What does the market matter? I don't know. I guess they're debating, but I think maybe somebody answered the market. Yep.
I was saying what the market tells you. Your market's going to tell you your lane.
Yeah, I kind of agree with that. Like, take the average of the last few guys you dealt with, and then kind of look at the men you're dealing with today. And that's more or less your lane, I think. This is just a quick off the cuff response. But we got Nia.
Well, I don't know my lane, and I guess that's why I've had 2 boyfriends that went south. I don't know my lane, and that's why I'm making wrong decisions, and that's why I'm keeping my shit together, because I don't know my lane. I'm sorry.
But I think Ken's saying they were your lane.
Bro, just a quick summary. Sister, your lane is not just your looks. There's 3 things you take in consideration. Your 1 to 10 is your quality of life. Your 110 to your character, and 110 in looks divided by 3. That's your number. And unfortunately, there's too many women who are 8 in looks and got a 500 credit score and 3 kids and still think they're 8. No, you got to take those other factors in, and then when you do your combination, that's your overall marriage number.
All right, Ken has a formula, and it went over my head. Drop it in the chat, Ken. There's a mathematical formula to your lane. Y'all ladies take account. But Nia, we got Nia. Hey, Nia.
Hey, yeah, that is crazy to me. I'm getting over a cold, so excuse the congestion or whatever. But yeah, I don't really like the scoring, of us, like we're on the market, or like we're for sale, or like we're on the plantation, and all of us are on different levels of who's better, who's the strongest, who's gonna, I don't really like that. So for me, I don't score myself, but I feel like I'm a decent, woman. And I don't go for looks. I don't go for what do you have? I don't go for are you in my lane? Are you not? Because you never know someone's potential. And I'm using that word gently because I don't like judging potential. I feel like I want you to be everything you are, and I don't want to hope you're going to improve later.
Yeah, I said that in one of like, what are you looking for in a partner conversation about myself? I said, I need to see where you at now. Like that's the you that I'm expecting to get. You can hope for change, and change will be nice, but if I can't accept the current version of you, I'm not with it. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Nia.
Right. And then also with the you never know, or you can't judge a book by its cover. Perfect example. I was dating a guy for a year, and yes, it was only dating for a year. Didn't take it further because I guess I felt like he was out of my lane, but only because he couldn't travel how I could travel. When it came time to go out to eat, he only wanted certain restaurants. That type of thing. Didn't want to improve his education in any way. And all those are the opposite of me. And then the other hand, I was dating a guy who seemed like he was on the same wavelength of the guy, like far as how he dresses, the way he drives, but all that is just judgment, you never know. And then this particular guy, never anything name brand, he had a $500,000 house. He had multiple vehicles, multiple businesses in different countries, in different states. You see, so you really can't judge by that person. I took notes because I was gonna forget. I'm trying to hurry up.
No, you're fine.
And I'm shooting for marriage. I would love to be married in the future. I don't have any children or anything like that. And the work I'm doing is trying to be more, I don't know, you know how you feel like you've done all the work, it's hard to like name it off. Spiritual level, how I respond to men, credit, all that stuff, education. So all I'm doing is trying to be my best self, and with the hopes of maybe being married one day. Traditional family, not into polygamy. I do understand it. However, I let people do that. That's all I want to add.
I got you. There you go. That's respectful. Thanks, Nia. Yeah, thanks. Did you said like you're working on how you respond to men? Was that something that you felt like was an issue in the past or something?
Yes, only because I grew up being athletic. So I played basketball, volleyball, track, and then I'm tall. So I kind of felt like I was a little bit aggressive. And I had a big brother, so I felt like I felt like men were always trying to compete with me, either if it was education, spirituality, what I was reading, how often I go to the gym. So I decided not to speak as much or not to share as much so they won't try to compete. And then also I'm kind of outspoken. So a lot of times the guys didn't appreciate that because they thought I was challenging them just because I was asking about goals, aspirations, what kind of life they want later. And so with all that kind of conversation, they either withdrew or felt like I was challenging them or not submissive. So that's kind of what I ran into in the past.
Okay. Thanks, Nia. Kevin, what's up, man? I've been seeing you, man. Good seeing you, brother.
Hey, good talking to you. By the way, props to bring men and women having these type of conversations. I really appreciate this. But I'm gonna come at this slightly different point because I was married at one time. I'm no longer. To answer some of your questions, I'm more like mindset. I'd say traditional. What do I want in marriage? Since I've already had a family, I'm just looking for a long-term commitment and companionship. And things that I'm looking for as far as work that I've done. When my marriage ended, I had to kind of self-assess. And one of the things I did is look at, speak to my ex-spouse and speak to other women I dated in the past to see what were their opinions and try to gauge that with my perception, see where I may have fell short. One thing I do want to point out is that when I was married, I don't really feel like I had a lot of good marriage role models. So I thought I knew what marriage was until I went into marriage, and then you find out that you have to share and all this stuff, and dinner ain't gonna be ready every night at 5 o'clock. You know, you learn that the hard way. So I feel like I'm better for the experience, but you know,
let me ask you
really...
this. I got a good question for you, brother. You often hear people say like married people should start to kind of let go of their single friends. And if you're like a person who's seeking marriage, like should you like start to let go of your, like if you're a person you just have like a ton of single friends, you need to start letting some of them go and try to formulate relationships and friendships with people who are married, or at least have the same mindset. What do you think about that, Ken? I mean, Kevin.
I hate to say, but I think you make an excellent point. I mean, I know you have lifelong friends, but I think when you're married, there's a certain mindset. Like when I got married and my friends are still going out to clubs, you know, you have to kind of separate that statement. You're not thinking as a single man, right? So I do agree that I did, when I hung out with my married friends, and it was a better arrangement for me, and it kind of kept me in that whole marriage mindset. So yeah, I agree with you on that. But you know, it also depends on your friends though too. I mean, if you got good buddies, they'll keep you straight. You know what I'm saying? So if you have buddies who want to go out to the club and, you know, be a hound dog, and they remember you being a hound dog, you know, they might lead you astray, so to speak.
There you
but
go.
Yeah, I agree with that. And, you know, I'm not really an avid reader, but, you know, I started to read and things like that. That's why I think somebody on the site posted some books. I mean, because it's always good to get input from other people on what relationships are. And like, there's nobody going to tell you how to understand a woman, right? Men live 100 years, you probably never understand a woman, but any information is good.
You said some books. Can you tell me what those? I'm sorry for cutting you off. What are the books, real quick? Did you say you were reading books? Did I hear you say that?
Yeah, when I first got divorced, first book I read was Men Are From Mars, Women From Venus, classic. I also read Hill Harper's book, The Conversation, because I think a lot of times going into marriage, I thought we had talked about everything, but like I had a child, and we kind of butted heads on raising the child, which is a conversation, you know, as far as education and stuff like that, which is a conversation I probably should have had going into marriage prior to, you know, becoming a father. So, yeah. So just those are some things I was looking at. But like my point about role models for marriage, we don't have a lot. And we as a Black community, we really don't celebrate like the good marriages and examples of, hey, this is what a marriage looks, what a loving Black couple or a loving Black marriage looks like. So it's kind of hard for people who just meet and fall in love to understand that roadmap, because you may not have that in your bag of tricks.
All right, thanks, Kevin.
We're
gonna go to Janelle, and Janelle, that was Janelle, y'all, that I shared in the presentation. I want to thank Janelle for sharing that last time, because I think it was really powerful, and I had missed it when you said it, Janelle. Well, I heard you say it, but I didn't really hear it, if that makes any sense. And you really said some powerful things there. So the floor is yours, man. What do you got?
Marriage. So I'm currently working with a marriage coach, because I realize I don't know all the things. I know what I know, but if I'm willing to invest in all these other things in my life, like education and financial learning, maybe it makes sense to invest in the thing that creates the legacy, right? You can't create legacy without quality partnership. And so as far as that breakdown, I've never seen that breakdown before between like percentage modern, traditional, primal. Like, that's brilliant.
Because a lot of people nowadays, they like to say, well, I'm modern, I'm traditional. But if truth be told, if you really look at the different aspects of each, we're all, we're jumbled up in there, I think.
And recognizing that that's going to flex, right? Like I was speaking to a girlfriend today. So one of the things that I've been doing is intentionally tapping into my network of people who are in relationships that have aspects that I want to mirror. Like, who are my mentors? Like having relationship mentors, right? And having those open, honest conversations. I was on the phone for like 4 hours with one of my mentor couples today, interestingly, speaking for 2 hours with her, 2 hours with him about these things. And their relationship is a perfect example. When they first got together, she made more money, but what he offered her was emotional, mental, physical safety, and vulnerability that she didn't have in prior relationships. Like she was being approached by guys that were like, just have my baby, I'll put you up in a place and da 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 da. And she was like, yeah, I'm good. I'll pass on that. Most women would have been like, let me go ahead and get that. She was very clear on what she needed. They're now in a place in their relationship. They have a 18-month-old child. And for the first 3 years of the relationship, he was the primary cook. She didn't do cooking. They've swapped positions. He's now making more money. He's out of the house more. She stepped into the traditional. What I take from them is that we have to be willing to be, well, I said it before, so I'll be saying the same thing. The team, what does the team need right now? The team needs that I'm gonna be home because right now you have an opportunity to go do something that works better for you and for us, because when you're happy, we're happy, right? Just as long as your happiness is not something that's corrosive to us. And so what do we need to be doing at this time for us to be well? And so they're in flux. So where they began is not where they are, and where they are is not where they'll be. Same thing my dating coach says. Does this person, do you have the ability to grow? Do they have the ability to grow? Do you have the ability to negotiate with each other about what's necessary at that time for the team? You know, because I didn't grow up seeing it. Like it was a line of, although I had like my grandfather, I didn't have a lot of men around me growing up. My mom was incredibly protective for very good reasons, I'm sure. And so my idea of what manhood was very much based on fairy tale, as well as what to avoid from, you know, dad issues. Many of us have the dad story. And so it was this kind of rescue fairy tale / you're the villain push and pull that I realized I had to do work on, hence therapy. So it's a combination of things that I realized I needed to do to prepare. And it's an ongoing process because marriage isn't the destination. It's like a pit stop. Then we have to figure out how to be in partnership together, right? So it's not really the goal. It's the next place to rest for a moment. Oh, our wedding. Okay, now how are we gonna live together? You know, so it's ongoing. I don't think do we want to build something intentionally together? I think is the ultimate thing.
Yeah, and that was one of the major takeaways that I got from it. If you could, Janelle, I want you, for everybody listening, can you give us an abbreviated version of what it looks like to work with the marriage coach and what kind of things they teach you? If you can just be brief.
Well, it's a marriage coach specifically for women. So ladies, her name is Taurus Sense. So you could check her out on the Instagrams and on Clubhouse. Actually, I just got off the coaching session with her right before I came in here. And so she has a 3-month program where she takes you through a curriculum. You do like group coaching once a week, then you work in smaller groups. And the process is a mindset shift. It's get to know really who you are, why you are the way you are, because we're all some version of a kid that's grown up, has responsibilities, but many of us are still operating out of our kidness, right? Like some parts of us got stunted at a certain level. And so we're showing up very grown, smelling good, have the fancy things, but we're still a kid, you know, showing up as a kid. So she helps us process through like, where are we? What do we want? And how does that version of us that wants that other thing, who does that version of us need to be? Right? Because we may want what we're not yet ready for. Every 5-year-old wants a Lamborghini, but you can't drive. You can't reach the pedals, baby. Don't be. I get why you want it, but are you ready for it? So she just takes us through the process. And it's really powerful it's not a cookie cutter, because I think a lot of dating programs say every woman has to have a very soft speaking voice and that's what feminine. No, it's what's the most radiant version of you, be that. And the right person for you is who you will connect with. And so she just takes us through that process.
There you go. And I salute to you for doing the work. And I told the gentleman, it's a lot of ladies are willing to do the work and are thinking about marriage and are getting focused on it. And I don't know, I wonder, I theorize, I wonder if their counterparts are there doing the same thing. But salute to you, salute to a lot of ladies doing the work. trying to become better versions of themselves. Brandy, what you got? Brandy, you got anything, Brandy? Thanks, Janelle.
One more thing, I'll say that there are a lot of amazing men. I think one of the other key things that she's helped us, and I say us, it's a collective of women, is reposition like the value of men and what the relationship is. I think we've created this 0 and 1, like this binary of it's either a good person or not a good person, either that person's for marriage or it's not. Since being like re-educated, I enjoy interacting with men, period. Every man has something amazing to offer. There's something in that they have to offer that like expands my thinking and my reality, right? I need one person for marriage, but I love having like a whole group of men who are there to support and guide and protect and provide and build. Like, I love that, I love being in my feminine because you get to be in your mask. But that could only happen in recognizing the value of the other beyond, are you going to give me marriage? Like, no, are you going to give me the best version of you and who you are vulnerably? Do I get to meet that? Like, that's exciting. So, yeah,
that's beautiful. I like that. And I kind of agree with the same. I like, I like having healthy platonic relationships with women where, because, we can learn from each other. There's things you can learn and we can pick up. A little bit how this works, y'all. We go to the people. We got a lot of people hands raised, and we're going to try to start keeping our commentary brief because we end the conversation at 10 o'clock. But we go to folks on camera. So if you don't have your camera on, we might skip over you. But so if you're in the queue and you don't want to be skipped over, make sure you get your camera on. But if we skip over you, we'll come back to you. But just if you want to be heard, make sure you have your camera on. Chelsea, you're up, dear.
Okay, so for me, I guess I would say that I'm a mix of modern and traditional. And I say that because for me, hey, Brandy. And I say that because there are some aspects of a traditional marriage that I'm open to and I'm willing to compromise on, but there are also modern aspects that I would like to continue doing, I guess. And I guess for what I'm doing to, I guess, become that wife material, I know for me, I have a lot of progress that I need to work on and, changes I need to make. For me, I know that I am selfish and I am not willing to compromise. And I know that marriage is a compromise. There are some things that I don't want to compromise on, such as, and I'm just going to have a little bit of a story time. I'm going to keep it short though. So I've been engaged before, and my former fiance was a very traditional guy. I mean, of course, he was open to me working. He wanted me to continue going to school and things like that. But, he wanted the traditional, I guess, housewife in a sense as well. He wanted, me to be at home. He wanted, me to cook and clean while he does, all the hard manly stuff. And he wanted us to have kids. I don't want kids. So that was something where that was a point of contention for us. And then also from a traditional standpoint, last names. I want to keep my last name. And he was not for it. I even tried to compromise with, hey, we can hyphenate. And he's like, no, I want you to take my last name. Like we are a unit. Like it doesn't look cohesive, but anywho, I just know I definitely have to grow up when it comes to like how selfish I am. But I also feel like a lot of my selfishness isn't, I guess, bad in a sense. I'm still in a place where I like to do what I want when I want, and I want what I want when I want it. And so, but I realize that doesn't work for everyone. So I would definitely say therapy does help quite a bit. And then also, I think actually just putting myself out there more. It's always been like this running gag with my girlfriends where it's like, Chelsea, a man is not going to come to your front door. And I mean, I know that, but I also feel like I use work and school as, you know, kind of my, oh, I don't have time to date. So, you know, because work is kind of like my first priority right now, you know, I'm not really ready to put that on the back burner. So,
yeah. So let me ask you, as you saw in the presentation where I had said, I had theorized that it's important to find someone with a similar mindset. You had mentioned a lot in your answer about compromise. Do you think is also part of it can be some compromise and also some just trying to find somebody who more or less aligns with your thinking, who, you know, who has these different thoughts that you have, like not
I mean, yeah, I mean, of course. I guess it's just more so when I mention compromise, I don't mean like on big things like kids and whatnot, because that's just setting yourself up for failure. I guess I would mean like, well, I don't really have any specifics
right.
at
Yeah,
this moment, but yeah.
Yeah, I wasn't looking for specific, but you I think you answered it. You said that it's both really. But thanks, Chelsea. Great answer. Let's see here. Catherine, how are you, Catherine? You're up. The floor is yours.
Yeah. Hi, everyone. It's good to be here. This is my very first session.
Welcome.
With the group. All right. So you asked a lot.
What do you think so far? What do you think so far? You can be honest.
Well, the first part, I thought it would be a conversation for the entire 2 hours. So I was pleasantly surprised by your presentation. I thought it was pretty good. So thank you for that.
Thank you.
So you asked 3 questions. The first is like, what are we doing to prepare ourselves to be, I guess, married or a good wife, or for me, a good wife. I would say that, you know, for the longest time, it was not a focus for me personally. I always focused in on my career or schooling. But so for the past few months, I've been thinking like, all right, what can I do to make myself, you know, more available, right? And marketable? Because, you know, I've heard it like, yeah, guys are very much, you know, physically attracted to a person. And so, like yourself, health is something that I've been working on. I really enjoy weightlifting. So I've been really getting into that, and kickboxing. Making sure that I am financially secure is huge for me. Because I really enjoy working, and I am not really looking for a person to take care of me. Definitely.
Sorry to cut you off. What's your goal with weightlifting? You getting muscles? What's happening there?
Yeah, I want to get strong. I mean, see, so a lot of people think women are like, oh, you're gonna get like all these muscles like you see on the CrossFit or like a weightlifting competition. And no, I'm not eating enough to get that type of definition, but I like it as a form of working out. And I like getting stronger and lifting heavier weights. I do a combination of weightlifting and kickboxing, so that's just me.
All right. Go ahead. I'm sorry I cut you off.
No, it's fine.
You could, and I don't want to rush you.
No,
Catherine,
I'm gonna wrap it up into exactly
sorry.
what I was looking for. No, that's fine. That's how it is with these things. So for me, I feel like I'm a little different than the people who have already spoken. I'm definitely looking for more of an egalitarian type of relationship. Like I said, I'm not looking for someone to take care of me, but for us to work as a team. And also, I feel like I'm a little bit more modern, because the idea of being a housewife and cooking and cleaning are not ideal for me. So that's kind of where I am in terms of, I forgot the third question, but I think I covered the first two.
Yeah, I think in society overall, more people are modern, Catherine. I would say 95% of, I think, women are about modern. If we really look at some of the things we listed and talked about there. So I don't think there's nothing wrong with that. I think maybe we're attracting this platform, maybe attracting a lot of traditional minded people, but I think you're not an oddball for being modern. But thanks so much, Catherine. Thanks for your kind words. But just if I could just throw something, be careful with the muscles. I mean, I'm just saying, just be careful how you lifting and doing that, doing your thing.
No, I know I'm not, like I said, you gotta eat a certain way to get like really, look, I'm getting enough muscle to defend myself, but not to be like Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's not gonna be like that. But thank you.
I hear you. I don't be liking to feel like, oh, man, I don't like nothing hard on a woman really. That's just me. That's just me. I think it's a lot of guys too. That's just my opinion, ladies. It's not misogynist. It's not patriarchal. It's just preference. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Nautica. You are up, ma'am. Welcome.
Hey, this is my first time on here.
How you liking it so far? What do you think so far? How you not liking or not liking it?
It's cool. Yeah. But yeah, it's really different. So like
You say you're nervous?
Yeah, I didn't say that. We can
Oh. No, you're good.
Okay.
Go ahead.
So I'm like first of all, I'm Gen Z, right? So for me personally, I prefer like traditional, like a traditional marriage, but like I feel like in my generation, like that's not really what people are moving towards. Like I rather like stay at home and cook and clean. Also, I do want to also contribute to the finances by having my own business, but I want to run from home. But yeah, that's where I am. For me, what I'm working on. So I've gone to therapy. I work out, and I'm like also trying to get my finances together. I just graduated college. Well, I graduated college in 2020. So I've been working on getting my finances together. Just so I can like live. I don't. But mainly like, yeah, I'm more traditional. But I feel like that's hard to find in my.
Let me ask you. Yeah, let me ask you a few questions. That at Nautica_B, that's your Instagram. You want people to follow you there?
Yeah, sure. Free promotion.
There you go. There's a traditional woman, Gen Z, Nautica B. Now you said that you're having trouble finding people in your. So are you just dating? For you, your preference is men in your age range and your age group.
Yeah, like I use Bumble, but I had to stop using that because the girls have to reach out first, and I don't like that. Like I feel like it like allows the men to like not like be as masculine, and like I feel like also like men my age, like I think because like the lack of like role models and the lack of like healthy Black marriages, like a lot of men they don't like know how to ask for numbers or ask like on a date, and even like I guess because like we're so virtual too, like my generation we're so virtual, like out in public, like guys don't really be hitting on.
So
Like,
let me ask you this: what's your age range? Like what of guys you're looking at? Because I know the generations, but I'm just curious for you specifically.
Oh, like 24 to like 28.
I think with that, a lot of guys in that time in their lives, they're still building, and they're not in a position to really even. I mean, the stuff about being a traditional man who's a protector, who has ability to provide, he's in less of a position to do that. So it may just be at this season, at this time, you're going to have a harder time finding your match. And I understand that that's your preference and that's what you're looking for. But if you want a guy who's kind of in better position to do that, and, I don't like to tell women to date older, but I think you have better chances of dating older. But I know you kind of want to stay in your age bracket. I just don't think that a lot of men at that age range, one, are in a financial position to do so, and two, have the mindset, the marriage mindset. Guys, for me, I really didn't really start thinking about getting serious about marriage until maybe like 32, 33, and I'm 35 now for context. So around that age range, you just, guys are thinking about having fun and they're thinking about building. So it's just something to consider.
Yeah, I feel like back in the day though, like people got married younger.
Right,
so
that's true.
I guess it's just like because of the generation now, like
Yep. Yeah, it's modern times.
Coming. So I understand. Thank you for your insight.
Yeah, you're welcome. Well, welcome to the group, and I'm glad to have you. And keep tapping in. We have a lot of interesting discussions, and good luck with everything.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Okay, we got. I can't pronounce it. You're gonna have to pronounce it for me, man. I'm sorry. I'm not gonna even try to butcher your name.
No, it's Chinyulu. Can you hear me?
Chinyulu. I can hear you perfect.
Yes, you can call me Chin.
Chin,
and I'm new
like
to the
that.
group. Hello.
Hello.
Yeah, interesting conversation so far. But so I think for me, as I prepare myself, in terms of for marriage, I think what I view as very important is first knowing yourself. Knowing who you are as an individual and what you want, being very, very clear about that. and then what vision you have for yourself. Where do you see yourself? Also in the context of, marriage with somebody, and looking for somebody who also shares that same vision, wants the kind of the same things. I know early on people were talking about lane, and if you're not in this person's lane versus that person's lane. I won't necessarily say lane, but what I found out over the years, I mean, I'm 40, I just turned 40. I'm not married, I don't have kids. I'm a professional working woman. I think what I found out over the years is, you want to date somebody that is really aligned with who you are, from even an educational standpoint, and possibly, financially, or at least close to what you're earning financially. Because I think sometimes the problem that we women run into is, if you're a high earning woman and you meet somebody that is not a guy that is not earning as much as you are, and you're dating, sometimes certain things you might do, he might be intimidated by. And you want to do certain things, you want to go eat at certain restaurants, he can't afford it. And I'm really not about embarrassing men or putting them on the spot. I want everybody to be comfortable. But over the years, I've realized that it's easier if you try and date somebody within a similar financial bracket and has the same, probably, or close to educational background that you do. Because a lot of the conversations, what you're looking for, that person may already share. As opposed to somebody that is not in that. The other thing I was going to say is, over time, I've also recognized, I thought I was modern, but I'm actually very traditional in my thinking. And, probably more traditional than I am modern. But at the end of the day, I've come to recognize, if you want certain things from a relationship, even for a man, as a woman, you have to be willing to give those things. Respect is a big thing. So if I want a man to respect me, I also have to give him that respect regardless. And communication is a big thing, being able to sit and talk openly about everything. And the other thing that I think is important for women that are, high earners, I pretty much am set. So I know if a guy comes into my life, he's going to be like, okay, where do I fit in? Because it's like, you have everything. But that's where, as a woman, you have to make a conscious decision and say, okay, if I want this guy to be part of my life, there's certain things that I can step down on and let him come and take that role. Again, this is where traditional comes in, and this is just me speaking my own truth and peace, is let the guy be the head of the household, right? It doesn't mean that, everything he dictates, but give him that opportunity to be where I know truly this is where he needs to be the head. We have that vision, we work as a team, we know where we're going, we support each other. But I think that gets lost in translation. And the last thing I'm going to say is, I've come to realize over time, yes, love. No, I think what is important is friendship. Having a true friendship with whoever you're in a relationship with, because at the end of the day, I've seen marriages, my friends have gotten married, they're divorced, they say, oh, there's no more love. But if you have true friendship and you're connected on that level, it can withstand a whole lot. Because as friends, I have a lot of male friends, sometimes we get into it, but we come back and we're still aligned. And I think friendship is key, having a solid friendship going forward. So that's kind of just my summary of everything. But yeah.
I appreciate your perspective, Chin, and what you said about being a woman who's more established and you have things together.
Oh, yes.
And then you're trying to find a man, or you have to try to figure out how to fit a man into that. That's really common. And I've experienced that with a woman who's been really established. She had all her own stuff, and I'm doing okay myself too. But when it came to and this is, I like this conversation because I asked, what are you doing to become a wife or husband? Because I didn't see myself in her life. You know what I mean? Like, she had her own house, I had my own. We all had our own thing, but I don't see myself what do you need from me? You know what I mean? Especially if we just, you know what I mean? So it's a real thing. And I think what you're saying that there in terms of thinking about your mindset and giving room for a man to be a man is something that a lot of folks need to consider. But can I ask you this? What's your are you from the what's your cultural background? Because I feel like I'm picking up an accent.
Right. So I'm actually mixed. My dad's Nigerian. My mom is from the Caribbean, South America, Guyana. So I grew up in a household where it was different cultures. My parents lived in Nigeria for a while before moving over to the States. So my whole notion, trust me, of marriage is different because my dad is very traditional. But the thing I would say is my mom worked, both of my parents worked, and I grew up in an academic background, academic household. They both worked. My mom came home and took care of us. And I saw a dynamic, which is what I want to replicate in my own marriage, where the folks can come in, sit and talk, but there's still respect that the man is the head of the household, but he encourages his wife to do what she wants to do. Go further your education, do what you need to do, and I'll support you. That's what I grew up seeing. But I think it's very hard sometimes to replicate that because you're dealing with some men that have their own level of insecurity. And then as a woman, if you're not careful, you can come across too strong and too tough if you're very, well put together. So sometimes we have to dial it back and tone it down. But yeah, so.
All right. That's a conversation we're going to have. That's going to be another topic, y'all. And I'm going to let y'all know this, and you didn't say it and you didn't insinuate it really, but I'm hearing a lot of women who are successful and they say that men are intimidated by them. Now, I don't know if I agree with that or bite that, or they have insecurities. I don't know if I agree with that because, if a man is able to stand on his own 2 feet and stand on his own square, if a woman's successful, she's successful, at least in my thinking. Like I said, a lot of guys, somebody had brought this up last conversation, Chen, so I'm not really, singling you out. But a lady was saying that last time, and guys were kind of like, I don't know about that. And so that's going to be another conversation we're going to have for sure. But thank you so much. Thank you. I appreciate you chiming in with giving us your perspective. Jay, we're gonna have to skip you, Jay, because you don't got your camera on. But if you get your camera on, we can come back to you. We're gonna go to Brandy. You started. You were giving the amens when.
Thank you.
What do you think? What do you think about what she was saying?
Because I like the last speaker. I definitely do, and not to interrupt you because that's my bad habit. Okay, sir.
No, you're fine.
But I like the fact that she mentioned the space to fit in. That's going to have to be a new realm for me because I'm used to accommodating comfortability in the sense that, okay, I don't mind being the breadwinner, but if I pass you my debit card to pay for dinner, don't tell me you don't feel comfortable with it. We're going to have to use my money either way. Do you know what I'm saying? So that's something I have to work on indefinitely. But it's also comes back to the fact of dating within your realm of what, or the lane that you're supposed to be in, because I definitely put it on attraction. And sometimes the attraction doesn't work because some people don't feel that they are attractive enough to be with me, which is a whole nother conversation for us to have one evening, I do hope. But yeah, I think that was a good point to have because I don't know if I'm making space for them, because in my eye, when you're with a person, the whole goal is, hey, we're both bringing something to the table. What do you want to achieve? And hopefully the both thing we want to achieve is generational wealth. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, okay, I don't have any debt. Maybe you got a little debt, but you want to own a home. You got kids. I don't. How can I help you achieve your goals? But again, y'all, I'm very submissive in my mindset. I'm single. That's why I ain't got nobody. So I have nothing much to say in that regard. I'm so sorry.
No, you're good. You don't got to apologize. I would just say stop dating guys. You gotta pull out your card for it, Brandy. I mean, come on now.
Damn. Okay.
Yeah, what's going on? What's going on there?
I don't know. I don't know how to find people to date, so I only find people on vacation, I guess. I don't know. I'm gonna work on that. I promise I'm gonna work on that. Y'all need to have more events for me to meet other people. How about that?
We have plenty of events. You just got to come to them. It's true. Go ahead, Corey. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Corey.
Oh man, I forgot. But what I wanted to say was, I actually, just like the other guy, I was married, but now I'm divorced. So now it's just more of I'm just being the best version of myself. Just taking care of myself, and I do everything on my own. So if that time does come where I actually do meet somebody that I want to marry, which I've already been married, then yeah, but it would have to be something that's really strong. We would have to have a lot of things in common. And see, one thing that people don't realize though is using like the zodiac signs, because I go through that, I read those. like the horoscopes, and that'll tell you a lot about, your companion and who you could actually, be attracted to. That's one thing.
Yeah,
And
I heard of a
then,
lot of I hear a lot of ladies being keen on those zodiac stuff. I didn't hear a lot of fellas doing that, but you saying this,
I know,
it's legit, huh?
I know, I know. But yeah, that's one thing though. And see, that's one of another things that, I think more people need to date longer, because they actually, what they getting is a representative. They getting the person who they think that they supposed to be with, until they actually with them, they get married with them, get married to them, and then they completely different. And then they're like, wait, hold on, this is not the person that I met, And that's just my opinion.
All right, thanks, Corey. You said some interesting stuff there, man. A lot of controversial stuff. You said men, you just start looking at them zodiac. Well, that's not controversial, but you said look at the zodiacs, and you also said that people should date longer. Where and I would argue from my perspective, Corey, we're dating too long, and we got to get back to more of courting than dating. This dating stuff. I mean, I can date all day. We can date all day, but at some point we got to start tying a knot, and we got to start getting this thing together if we want the Black community. I mean, the studies show that marriage is really where it's at overall. But interesting perspective, Corey. Thanks for sharing, man. I appreciate you, brother. All right, Bacchus, you're up.
Oh, hey, what's up? You guys came in all right?
Yep, you're good.
All right, there's a lot that went down to unpack that I see. So let me just try to
Hold on. I got to give a disclaimer whenever you talk, man, because people tend to tie your opinion with my opinion. Bacchus is his own man. I welcome him to this platform to speak his mind. His opinions do not reflect, his opinions do not reflect my opinions. He's his own man, but he's welcome to give his perspective on things. So y'all stop tying me and Bacchus together and saying that, this is what we all think. This is just his perspective, and his perspective he needs to be heard, just like we all need to be heard. But go ahead, Bacchus. I'm sorry, I got to give that disclaimer out, man, because people.
But you helped me write this script that I'm about to say, though. Come on, Nah. No, so like I said, a lot kind of went down, and a lot of people said, I'm just going to try to remember some. I'm calling a BS on the whole, I want to be friends and yada, yada, yada. That works for everything else in life, being friends and then working on your friendship relationship and building things on top of it. But if that was the case, the women just have to go into their list of their guy friends that sitting on the back burner and find a husband and be married quick, fast, in a hurry. You don't want your friends. Your friends are there for a reason. He ain't there to be sleeping with them and dating them seriously. If that was the case, y'all have been done that. And they wouldn't even been in the friend zone. So I'm calling BS on that. The other thing, Janelle, I believe it's Janelle who said about having to grow up. Man, when she said that, the first thing that went through my mind was that Toys R Us kid song. I don't ever want to grow up. I'm a Toys R Us kid. That is me in a nutshell. And I've been realizing that a lot lately.
There you go. He's taking some accountability.
Most definitely. I know my mess up stuff. It is what it is. It's who I am. I mean, it is. Come on. And I've gone through other things she has said. I've gone through a lot of friends. We're cool. We're in these streets. We're running around. We're having a good time. They meet a girl and they pull me aside and like, yo, B, I might lock this down. And I straight square look at my friend. I was like, if you do that, we done, right? Because she don't like me. She don't like what I do. She don't like what I stand for. She don't like the single life that you and I have been living. And I could at least say I have about 6 of those best friends that I've lost to getting married. And then
you lost them.
I seen one of them the other day, and he was standing right next to me, and I'm just looking at him like, you did it. Look at you. You ready to come back out and hang with me? And she saw me next to him, and she cut that quick. You don't want your single friends, your married friends remembering the single life. And look, it ain't nothing good or real out here. We fake the funk hard about how great it is, but crying in bed at home alone or whatever the case.
Very true.
I'm not gonna lie. I'm sometimes jealous about it. I'm jealous, a little envious. I'm like, yo, you got somebody that love, care for you, and can really legit have your back. I got these have your back for now until the second I can't do nothing for you. Then I'm everything under the sun, that, you know, it's not good. It all still boils down for the things I'm always saying is finding the person who's legit for you. And for what one of the other ladies had said is about, she said she didn't want to take her husband's last name, she didn't want kids and all this stuff. I'm like, these are the kind of things, if you know up front, you should be telling that dude that on first date, first interactions. Hey, these are things I'm strong on. These are things we can talk about. These are things I'm flexible on. So y'all could already work that out and walk away from the table like, hey, this ain't just gonna work for me. Sorry about that. And
I agree with
being
that.
real and saving each other's time. Because if you're dating somebody for, let's just say 6 months, that's a lot of time knowing that you want this and they want that. Just being 100% upfront. And it hurts sometimes. It hurts sometimes to admit to yourself, like, damn, I really thought I wanted A, B, C, but I really wanted elemental P or something, you know? But all in all, for me to work myself towards marriage, I first got to ask myself, what does marriage life look like for me?
Right.
Like her, am I willing to provide that? Can I provide that? One of the big things you said that I most definitely am for is health. Health is most definitely, because if these women want you to provide and give them this lifestyle, their best option is to cook the right foods to keep you healthy so you can keep providing for a long time. I just lost a good friend of mine 2 weeks ago, right? Christmas, New Year's Eve. He passed away New Year's Eve in his bed alone. And we had the hardest time, and he was overseas at the time. We had the hardest time finding his family. He has no family. They buried him in a country where nobody knows him.
That's tough.
I'm flying down there soon so I could curse his grave out, because why do you do this to us? It's coming to me to realize I don't want to go out like him. All the friends he has a lot of friends all over the world, like we all do. Well, my people do. But at the end of the day, when something like that happens, who's going to take care of you? And you just got to come to that. So I got to grow up. I got to get to that better mindset. And sometimes, you know what? It's just working out a plan, just working out a deal. It doesn't have to be that fairy tale lifestyle. It doesn't have to be what you've been daydreaming for forever, him sweeping you off your feet every night or whatever the case may be. Y'all just work out a deal, lay down some rules, how y'all gonna run in these streets. If he wants to be poly, let him be poly over there, and you go take that dude over there, but, you know, keep it together. Just lay down the rules, and you can, it's like a job. Every couple of years, you can come back and revisit the contract and try something new.
There you go. We got a tame version of Bacchus tonight. I don't think his commentary was too inflammatory, and a lot of it I agree with. Thanks, Bacchus.
Yeah, there was nothing in my cup. It was actually this time. So in the studio. That's why I keep all the liquor in the studio. So
here we go. Y'all, we run a short on time. So if everyone can please keep their commentary brief. We got a lot of regular folks. I gotta hear from Nika. I gotta hear from Regine. I gotta hear from Carlos. Man, and then we got a newbie, Christine. Christine's gonna be our last person. We got to hear from Michael. So y'all, we're getting late on time. So if everybody could just try to keep your commentary brief. I know I put a lot of questions out there. Y'all don't have to answer them all. Just give some of the give us the highlights, because we are running short on time. There's always an overtime and after show. We just kick it in. We go off topic. But all right, Kai, you're up. Go ahead, man. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Hey, can y'all hear me?
Yep.
Okay, cool. This is my first time doing this. The one thing just real quickly I want to say is that, you know, if you don't really know what you're connected with or who you are as a person, that will draw the people that you date in your lane, you know? One thing I would like to recommend is the love languages. If you kind of understand how you want to be loved and, you know, how you want to be treated, that definitely can help with the communication of, I guess, finding the significant other that you really want. But if you just don't know those type of things, you're going to be forever bring people into your lane that's just going to kind of just mess things up for you. You know, like, you just don't want to waste time if you're looking for a wife or a family, in a sense where it's just going to be a situation where months go by, years go by, and you think that this is the right person. But if your love languages are wrong, you guys are just wasting each other's time. And then it's going to lead to a possible marriage that leads to a divorce. And then here we are again.
Hold on. Sorry to cut you off. So you don't think people can learn the love language thing, even if they have opposite?
No, I think that what we don't do is we don't take the time to learn our love language, right? We out here on these streets, we're doing all these things. We're focused on our jobs. We just don't take the time just to be still, be alone, and start reflecting on, why am I getting these pattern of people in my lane? You know, how can I take control of my lane? How do I want to be treated? You know, why is it that I'm constantly getting the same people doing the same type of things in my lane? So I think that we have a lot more control than what we think about who's in our lane. But that has to come from discovering who you are as a person and learning your love languages. And that's that.
Yeah, I've been leveling up my lane since I've been an adult, man. So I definitely think we can adjust our lane. So great commentary, man. All right, Nika, you're up, dear.
Oh, okay. Can you hear me?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so a lot of what everybody said kind of resonated with me, and had a lot to do with. I do have a notebook because I've been over here jotting down because I didn't want to forget anything. First and foremost, the comment that was made earlier in regards to like kind of dating, like I like where I am now is basically on dating what I want. So I think there was somebody that mentioned something about health. That was a big thing to me, you know, wanting a healthy guy. So I needed to be a healthier female. So I lost 40 pounds, 53 more to go. And I'm at my goal. Thank you. Thick is in, but you know, just from a health perspective of things, I want to stay, you know, the way that I am, but just be healthier, you know, inside and out. The other thing is just being my authentic self. Somebody made a comment about basically like presenting the best you at first and then kind of going off to something else. I don't want to feel like I need to pretend to be this person. Like whoever my person is, I want to be my authentic self from jump and be okay with that. You know what I'm saying? So that was something big for me, having to grow, you know, these conversations, the difficult conversations up front. I find that it's hard to have some conversations or people say, oh, don't ask this, or, you know, you shouldn't talk about that on the first day, but just having those difficult conversations up front to see what someone stands on things are important as well. The young lady that was talking about, you know, not wanting kids, things like that, that's a difficult conversation. And if, you know, that person is hell-bent on having kids or whatever their issue is with, you know, last names or how we're going to run our household, is really about just what works for the two of you as a couple. You got to, you know, just work on yourself first and then everything else will come.
I agree completely with that. Work on yourself and everything else will come. What else you got in the notebook? I know this ain't all you had. You've been over it.
I had what I initially, or I guess last week when we talked, or a couple of weeks ago when we talked, we were talking about lists, and my therapist, who I've been working with, you know, for 3 years, that was something that she asked of me, and it was a very difficult thing to do. And what she told me to do, or what she asked of me, was what type of person did I want. And initially you go to, oh, he need to be X, Y, Z, whatever, whatever. And I had this physical list of things. Well, I was driving in a car one day, listening to music, and I just kind of remembering something coming to me about what I wanted. And it took like one thing. So I had wrote out the list. And when I went back and I read her the list, she told me that I had a list of characteristics. And it just kind of dawned on me that my list went from being so much physical and materialistic to being about characteristics. And she told me that having a list that consists of characteristics kind of, I'm not going to say it guaranteed you longevity, but it was like a more sustainable list, because our looks are going to fade. Our bodies are going to fade. Our money may go up and down. Those are all things that, you know, we can't control, but who you are, your moral values, things like that, the characteristics parts of you, that's gonna remain the same to a certain degree.
What was on that physical attributes list? I'm sorry, y'all, to keep going. So what you had on your first list physically?
So I'm fun size. So I definitely like tall men, or what have you. So of course, don't roll your eyes, Brockets. I see you. But that was on the list or whatever.
No arm.
So,
every woman wants a tall man. Never heard a woman.
No, but
I want a short guy.
No, but I've dated guys that are a little bit taller than me. I'm 5'1.5", by the way. So I've dated guys. Don't roll your eyes. I've dated guys that were 5'3". So that's not like, oh, he needs to be 6'7". That's nice and everything, but that wasn't on there, to that extent. And then just kind of, back in the day, I can remember, oh, I want light skin and I want chocolate, all of this different stuff. That stuff doesn't matter. The list that I have now is what I expect of myself, not just what I expect of my partner or what I want in my partner. It's the same thing that I hold myself to. That's why I'm saying self-accountability. So when it comes to it, I'm asking you to be open-minded. How open-minded am I? You know what I'm saying? I'm wanting you to communicate with me, but I didn't shut down for a week and a half because we had a disagreement and I don't want to talk to you right now, when you're ready to sit down and talk, just different things. It's about being considerate and being understanding and just kind of hearing a person out like openly, because we could sit here all day and have a discussion, but is it going in one ear and out the other?
Very true. Well, there you go. Nika keeps unfolding the layers, y'all. Last conversation, she's talking about she's a submissive woman. Now we're here. She's a therapy and she's doing the work. So she's keep peeling the onion back, man. She's going. You're not allowed to back out of the what are we doing? The main event thing. She tried to back out, but we're gonna force her to come out. Y'all, a lot of y'all got that social anxiety. Stop with all that. Y'all get out. Start being social, man. Y'all see we positive people, man. Y'all get out. Y'all get out the house. Stop staying cooped up in the house. I know the bugs going on, but y'all get on out. You're gonna catch it eventually. Come on out. All right, Regine, you're up.
Okay. Well, I'm an introvert, so this I am coming out though. So that's a big step for me. So that's a change in growth that I'm doing. And I also have a comment for Bacchus. Married men do live longer. I think studies have shown that. Like, I guess they eat better, or I don't know, their wife feeds them. So just something for you to keep in mind. For your questions, I'm like the other young lady who spoke. I know when I got out of college, and my family were traditional, and my mom, was like, okay, you need to start thinking about marriage. And I was like, yeah, I'm gonna start thinking about marriage. So I did get married, and I married somebody who was 14 years older than me, because I did realize, like, men my age, they weren't ready to settle down and things like that. But that didn't work out because I think also I was very sheltered and naive, and I guess just didn't know a lot of what to expect. And I just looked at my parents' marriage, but we're living in a whole different time. So I do think I am probably more traditional, but I have some like modern sprinkles in there. So now, especially since COVID, like I said, I'm an introvert, and I just spent a lot of, like, I was fine with being at home because I went out to work and I met people. But then when we had the shutdown, I realized that, oh, this is really bad, like you just at home by yourself, all the time. So that's why I decided to do things like meetups and try to get out more and work on myself. And I realized even with my ex-husband that he probably was like on the same spiritual and emotional level as I was. So like those are things that I need to work on. I did do counseling after the divorce, but I would be open to doing like what Janelle was saying, like a dating coach and things like that, just to grow in other areas.
There you go. Yeah. So the dating older thing I think would be effective for that woman who spoke earlier, but she doesn't have to go 14 years older. Heck, for her, I think she said she was 24, maybe like maybe 8. That'll improve things for her. But people like what they like, and people have their preferences.
Can I interrupt and say that people have been saying what they like in a person rather than what they bring to the table? I think that's a little bit of a difference now. Do you understand what I'm saying? Like what you bring to the table is different than what you like. I like a fine man, but maybe my idea of fine and your idea of fine is two different things. And that's been a problem in relationships. Some people are like, he's ugly. Well, hell, he's not ugly to me, and I want to be with him. And that's a whole fucking problem when you got your peers saying that he's not on your level as far as visual looks versus, oh, well, he's making, you know, $40,000-$60,000 a year. He can contribute to your $60,000 a year. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, fuck what you like. What do you want? And what is he bringing? And I'm sorry to be a cunt about it, but I'm just trying to put it back on the table of what are you looking and what are you bringing back to your relationships?
Yeah. I don't know. I think why can't, so you don't think people can have both, Brandy? You don't think you can have looks and Simone agrees. Simone, I'm surprised you agree with that, Simone.
Well, I hope we're not moving forward on nobody that we think is ugly, because how are you gonna back on last week's subject on
But you
are
just
you thinking
said
hoes are winning only in the prospect of sexual gratification? And I'm bringing that back to the point of do not marry, do not date someone you do not want to suck or fuck. Do you know what I mean? And I'm sorry to put it into layman's terms like that. But what the hell are you doing then? You can get, I'm gonna keep it real though. Honestly, what are you doing wasting your time with someone that you do not want to have sex with? And that's why cheating happens. That's why all these other circumstances happen. Be with somebody you physically find attractive and then go from there. Then have those hard conversations. And if that person's not willing to have that conversation to, well, fine. Okay, next fine dude, what's up? But like, don't be wasting your damn time with somebody you don't find attractive.
Well, Brandy, is it
You're
because
at fault at that point.
But Brandy, is it because that they will stay with that person because of not having a dry season to get to the next person? So they can
I don't know what a dry season is. I've been fucking myself for months now.
Well, I appreciate it. Thank you for sharing. I appreciate you sharing.
What y'all talking about?
I don't know, but
I
I'm
go to
just saying.
Tokyo
But I'm
Valentino's
just.
at least once a
But
month.
what I'm
So I
saying
don't-
is that that person may stay with that person just because they're like, well, I don't have anybody, but I'm gonna be with.
That's on the terms that you're already with that person, though,
Agreed.
sir. And I'm not
Agreed.
with nobody. So moving forward, if I accepted this conversation in this Zoom chat and I'm single, I'm not going to be jumping in the next relationship with somebody I don't find attractive. What the hell are you doing? You're at fault for that, and you deserve to go with every punishment that you find yourself in that course. What the hell? How do you even date somebody you don't want to have sex with? Oh my God. What a waste of damn time. Because at this point, I'm carnal as hell. Okay, I'm carnal as hell. So I don't want to waste my time with somebody I don't find physically attractive. So all these conversations about, if it's not about what you bring to the table, then you should not be having that conversation because you're not attracted to them. You're wasting your time and theirs. And why in the fuck would you marry somebody you're not attracted to? Now that's some BS. And I won't even say that. That's weird as fuck. Weird.
Are you talking about the benefits of the marriage? That's why they married him?
There should be no benefits to marriage other than a common union and saying, hey, that's why what God put together, no one else can break apart. And that's why a lot of divorce rates are high as hell. What the hell are you thinking?
Well,
that's why I don't have no kids, and why I agree with Kevin Samuel's part, and why Kevin Samuel is not for the weak and brokenhearted, because what he says is real as hell.
No, that's right. No, I agree with you on that aspect. The thing is, the reason why I'm saying that is because there are some women who may feel as though that, hey, I'm going to be with her because this is who I need to be with. But when it's time for me to break away, I'll break away. And I've seen that. I spoke to especially some of my guys back up north. That has happened before. So it's not saying what you're saying is wrong. I'm just saying there are people, men and women, that just stay in a relationship till they get to the next relationship. They just in it for now before they get to the next one. I could be wrong. If anybody I'm wrong, please tell me I'm wrong.
Y'all, that was a great segue, but we got to get to Carlos. We got to get to Christine. We got to get to Nikita. They've been waiting a little while. That was interesting. We might have to do a whole show just detangling Brandy and some of the things that she put out there just a second ago. But Carlos, go ahead, man. Go ahead. I'm sorry, brother.
Yo, what I'm doing I'm all about improvement, so that's not really the thing as far as marriage. Just to be less selfish.
Yeah,
I think that's the key to it all, right there, in my opinion.
Man, that's all you got, Carlos? You've been waiting that long to get that? Come on, man, get what you got off.
That's all I got. I do believe in the Black family though, the nuclear family, and not just because of my faith, but it works. I mean, most of my friends that came from 2-parent households, they're doing better. And I do appreciate these conversations to make the Black community get a little bit closer back to that. So,
Hey, Carlos,
that's my
what's the
piece.
score, bro?
What's what?
What's the score, man? I see you keep looking at the game. What's the score?
Oh, I'm not looking at the game, man.
Okay.
KC won. KC won.
All right, Michael, you're up. Thanks,
KC
Carlos.
won in overtime.
Yeah. I would appreciate everybody. Thank you for having this conversation. Real quick, I just think that, and I think I said this previously, I think when it comes to relationship, I'm interested in how do you make my weaknesses my strengths, and how do I make your weaknesses a strength, and focusing on being able to move things forward. I don't deal with lazy daters. I don't deal with people who haven't been healed from their previous trauma. My goal is making sure that we are looking towards the future. How we plan in 30, 60, 90-day game plans. We have to be next level with this. And the problem is that if we're holding on to the past, holding on to things that our friends and stuff saying, we're not being trendsetters. We're not setting a bar. And I'm a person who wants to set the bar. I'm not looking at what my friends did and stuff like that. I'm my own man, and whatever relationship I have, that's our relationship. We need to set the bar. And if we're not setting the bar, what the hell are we doing? That's all.
Mm-hmm. Great commentary. Great commentary. Christine, you're up.
Hey, it's Kristen.
Kristen, I'm sorry.
That's okay. That's okay. Everyone, thank you, as everyone always thanks you for these conversations. These are really great. So I look forward to meeting everybody. It's my first chime in on the conversation.
You've been tuning in, you've been listening in.
I've been tuning in. I've been kind of quiet though.
Okay, that's okay. It's a lot of quiet folks out there. Y'all start chiming in. I know it's a lot of people, but I want to hear from y'all. Go ahead, Kristen.
Yeah. So I should have wrote down notes like some people did, but I just think overall, I agree with some of the things people were saying. I think it's just important to a lot of people have been saying to, make sure you have something to bring to the table. Don't just sit here and be like, I want A, B, C, X, Y, Z, but you're not bringing anything to the table. And kind of like you mentioned in the beginning, that was kind of like me. I was like, well, I want my man to be in shape and have a 6-pack, but I wasn't working out myself a couple of years ago. So I was like, okay, let me get in better shape and I can go work out with him or whatever. I can't just sit here and be like, I want him to do this, but I'm not really bringing anything to the table myself. And I think too, what Michael just mentioned as far as your past, making sure you're over your past. And I think therapy is the key. I've heard a lot of people talk about therapy, and I think that is so important in our culture, and just being married, not just waiting for something bad to happen, but being proactive versus reactive. So if you're coming to a relationship and you're like, well, I want him to be better than my last man, I want her to be better than the last woman, just give the person a chance sometimes, because your first impression, you always kind of want to go back to your past. Well, so you're doing better than the last person, but it's important to fully be over your past, because how can you be open to love? And then of course, I think a gentleman mentioned about the love languages. I think it's important to know your love language and to know your partners, because if your partner's love language is quality time, but your gifts, you may be buying him all these things or buying her all these things, but it's not going to make an impression on them, because they're about I just forgot what I just said, but you know what I'm saying, but just knowing the person's love language. And then as far as making sure, of course, you're bringing things to the table as well, I think is key, and therapy is the best key as well, in Jesus.
There you go. She punched a whole lot into that little, just that quick brief intermission. Good commentary, and I agree. I think I agree with most of what you said there. Yeah, that was great commentary. All right, the nailers. I'm gonna call y'all the nailers. Y'all go ahead. Thanks, Christine. Was it Kristen?
Kristen, just how it's spelled, Kristen.
Hey y'all, this is very informative, and I love coming on here every time because y'all be having me going. So I think for myself, and what I'm doing is working on myself and healing. And I think it's really important. A lot of people do karmic relationships because they don't want to be by themselves. They don't want to take that time to just really assess themselves. And so you go from one relationship to another, doing the same thing over and over, and you're picking up more and more wounds, and the things that are good about you, that are beautiful about you, unique about you, you are losing them and damaging yourself more and more as you go along. And I feel like whoever you end up with don't deserve to pick up your trash. Like they don't deserve to sort through your shit. That's your business to do. And so, yes, it's good that, and like Mike was saying, you guys balance each other out, the positive parts and the weak parts. However, we can't have an attitude of back. It's like, hey, this is just who I am. Yeah, this shit is trash, and this is me, and we doing it. Like, I'm not calling you trash, Backus. I'm not calling you trash. I'm just saying that's what you said. So we have to be in a posture of wanting to do the work. And I think unless you're in love with yourself, unless you know how to treat yourself, like everybody was saying, unless you know how to love yourself, you can't exemplify that and show that. You can't tell anybody, I like to be loved this way, right? It's out of example. You can't tell me that you like to be treated a certain way, or you like to be talked to a certain way, and you go around treating people like trash and talking to people any old type of way. You know what I'm saying? It's kind of the example that you show. You can't all of a sudden say, when I get with you, all of a sudden, now I like jewelry, when I ain't never see you buying them for yourself. Or I like flowers, when you don't get none for your house and keep your house clean and take care of yourself in a certain way. So I know, oh, I see my babe like these things or whatever, not because all of a sudden I want to upgrade now that you're here. These are the things that I do for myself. So anybody who's going to be with me is going to not only match that, but upgrade those things about myself. And every morning that I wake up to you and you wake up to me, I want us to aspire to do better together. It should be something about you and something about me that make me be like, damn, I need to match his swag. I need to match, his energy, and vice versa. So we all have to like do our work and really just heal those woundings, because all of it is vibrational. You can't say that you want somebody that works out, who's about their business, who handle their business, and you waking up and shit at 12 o'clock every day, and you got to get motivated to do the stuff that you need to do for yourself. So it's just really about, the energy matches, you know what I'm saying? And it has to be, we can talk about what we want somebody to look like. And I commend you, Cardo, for putting that presentation together, because that was fire. Like just seeing, the transition as how things have gone. But it's really, we have to do the inner work. And I think in this virtual world, in this quick, fast, swipe left world, a lot of us are not doing the work. You know what I mean? And it's important to know yourself and do the work and healing, so that when you do get with somebody, you have the energy and the capacity to fight it out, stick it out, learn another person. Yeah, so that's it.
Woo. Hold on. Let me.
Hey.
Gotta get an air horns for that, man.
Real, she been saving that up, man. Somebody was holding that.
It was churning. It was like
that volcano just erupted a little bit.
Talk about what we want from another person, and it's like, but you ain't shit. And I don't think that it's like.